For the life of me, I cannot seem to finish an essay lately, so today's video is going to be more in the style of a diary entry. My sincere apologies. For the past month or so, I've really been struggling with finding something to talk about just to be able to post a video, and I have demonstrably failed at uploading. But I've still been watching YouTube and keeping up with things going on in the commentary space, so that's what I want to talk about today. If you like this video, please leave a like, drop a comment below letting me know what you think, and of course subscribe for future content. I'm addicted to drama channels. I don't know how or why it became a thing for me, but like a lot of people, there's just something about watching strangers' lives fall apart on the internet that I find absolutely fascinating. There's very little I find more stimulating than kicking back in my favorite chair with a fresh cup of coffee, throwing on my headphones, and sipping the latest commentary tea. If I had to guess as to the reason why I like internet drama so much, it's probably because I don't have any drama in my own life. I have pretty stable relationships with everyone around me currently, and so there's not really a lot to fuss over, other than the normal stress and strain of everyday life. I am by no means complaining, as it's something I'm very proud of and something I'm very grateful for. But I just think it serves as a reasonable explanation as to why I'm attracted to drama content. Because my life is boring. Thus, I'm a bored cat on the internet. It's not exactly something to boast about, but it is something that I acknowledge with very little shame. I'm human after all, despite the cat ears. And I do think it's just part of the human condition to be drawn to conflict and something that's entirely natural to our species. But the reason I decided to talk about it is because I don't think it's necessarily healthy for me to spend hours at a time watching video essays and listening in on live streams. I don't really know how to word this in a way that doesn't sound deprecating to the entire community at large, but I don't think any person should spend upwards of 8 to 10 hours a day watching video after video, going over the latest controversy to hit the platform. But I'm not alone in this. I know I'm not the only one that suffers from this affliction. So consider this a support group video for social media addicts, I guess. I get why so many people make drama content. I did it for a while too. On my other channel, I tried very hard to be like every other commentary/reaction channel on YouTube and give my takes on the latest thing to gain traction in the algorithm. It was fun for me. I like sharing my opinion and generating discourse. I like responding to feedback in my comments section. But in retrospect, I do believe I was contributing to a lot of negativity that in no way benefited me as a creator, or anyone else in the space. So why did I do it? Why did I allow myself to be Alice, fall down the rabbit hole, and chase after the commentary white rabbit? I'm not going to be original when I say this, but I imagine that a lot of us get roped into watching internet drama for the same reason people get hooked on reality shows. Or back in the day when people would watch those crazy talk shows like Jerry Springer, Steve Wilkos, or Maury, with their insane guest lineups on daytime television. People were so fascinated by those shows that an actual movie got made of the same premise in 1998 called Ringleader and starring Jerry Springer himself, alongside names you might recognize like Jamie Presley and William McNamara. Though cable networks have declined in recent years, a lot of those types of shows still have dedicated fan bases among older generations. It's a way that people can metaphorically be in the passenger seat of a joyride, with all the excitement and danger, but without any risk of injury or consequence, because it's someone else's life you're watching come to a crashing halt from the safety of your living room. Similarly to how people obsess over horror movies, who like feeling the fear and adrenaline rushing through them as though they're living that experience, but with no actual bodily harm because it's only fiction. People can experience that drama of everyday life without ruining their own relationships in the process. Though just like with reality shows, internet drama may not be your life, but it's someone's life, somewhere in the world, and even if it's heavily staged, it's still actually happening. As a side effect, Audiences feel a stronger parasocial bond with the individual on the other side of the screen that they relate to, because of the reality of easily being them, if roles were different. A lot of times, this type of entertainment provides ordinary people with an opportunity to live vicariously through the personalities on screen, in a way that has minimal impact on us as individuals and our day-to-day. For me, like I said earlier, it's a way to supplement the lack of any conflict in my life that would ordinarily come in the form of interpersonal drama. Things like messy breakups over lying or cheating on someone are relatable, and we can feel a connection with others in the community we build around discussing these subjects. But just because it gives the illusion of danger while observing in relative safety, doesn't mean that interacting with it isn't going to personally impact you in some way. There are consequences to consuming drama content, though maybe we don't readily notice them, but they do happen. Honestly, the first example I can think to give is the literal headache that I get from watching that stuff for hours on end. And it's just as terrible for you mentally as it is physically, to waste all of your social battery on these subjects. I can't tell you how many times I've seen people on the platform complain about how drained they are after sifting through hours of videos and live streams going over this stuff. Even just watching it and not even actively participating in the discussion surrounding it can make you emotionally lethargic after a while. For both creators and consumers, you begin to acquire a numbness to subjects you wouldn't normally tolerate. You also risk getting pulled into a toxic environment, depending on the creators you watch. Drama communities used to be far more insulated, and it used to be that you had to leave the platform and go to another site like Twitter or Discord to engage in more organic discussion about the current drama. But now that live streaming has become more prevalent on the platform, and nearly every drama channel streams to their followers, it's easier to participate in the discourse, and some of us can be very easily influenced by the hive mind of their fellow chatters. I'm 100% guilty of this, and I'm not saying that every community does it, but it is something that can happen from time to time. Eventually, your empathy shuts off completely, and the brief excitement you feel over discovering new information you haven't heard already becomes the only thing you can feel. In fact, I think that's where the addiction element comes into play. We're curious, and that discovery of new information feeds the innate desire to learn new things. It's the driving factor of why we search up every single video we can find on the topic, sit through hours of live streams watching every single commentary creator we know covering the exact same story, and yet continue to beg for more news, more updates on the situation, despite knowing in finite detail exactly what happened, from start to finish. It's depressing, too, because once the story ends, you're left feeling empty and lacking because the thing that has kept your attention for so many hours, days even, has in actuality left no real impact on your life whatsoever. When you exit YouTube, take off your headphones and plug your phone in to charge, your life is exactly the way you left it. Nothing has changed, nothing improved, and zero difference made. Those of us who use the internet to escape whatever boring reality we're living almost have no choice but to jump back in as soon as possible to hunt for the next juicy story to follow, just to find meaning. At least when you're a drama channel that covers controversy for a paycheck, there's a purpose to it. Incentive to keep doing it that does actually impact your life. You're able to pay your bills, put food on the table, and contribute something to society. You may not be changing the world at large in any significant way, but you're at least making a positive impact on your own life and those in your immediate circle. And in the same ways that news organizations keep people informed on events happening around them, commentary channels covering drama do have a place within YouTube's ecosystem. Popular celebrity news cycles like those of TMZ and Entertainment Tonight keep fans updated on the current goings-on in the lives of their favorite public figures. And the people of YouTube will always need a similar source of information regarding their favorite channels. The world will always be curious, and sometimes commentary channels do us a bit of a public service by informing us on the problematic people who have no business doing what they're doing on the platform. Drama, though often perpetual and sometimes even performative, will always serve a purpose in the community. But if you're like me, and your only real interest in the subject is just as a consumer and not necessarily as a contributor to the drama community, it can almost feel pointless to even engage in it at all sometimes. Which I'm not saying is overall a bad thing. We should all have our means of entertainment, our vices, if you will. But the question remains, how do you stem your overconsumption of said vice when you know it isn't healthy for you, but you just can't stop watching it? Like a bad train wreck you can see miles away, but you've tied yourself to the tracks. How do you cut the bonds? I can't claim to have the answer. But I've found that just swapping out YouTube every once in a while for some good old-fashioned mind-numbing TV has been good for me. I recently binge-watched the entire series of Buffy the Vampire Slayer in between cleaning, and I found it surprisingly cathartic. There were times I didn't even have cable when I was younger, so I never got to watch it from start to finish when it aired, and finally getting to hop on the fan wagon felt really nice. It also gave me something new to talk my husband's ear off about. In the same way that I found supplementing actual conflict in my life with that of mindless internet conflict to be enjoyable, I've just had to sometimes supplement the internet drama with something else, something less corrosive when I need a break from it, and usually that helps. Sometimes we're bored. Sometimes we're lonely and we want people to talk to, and sometimes the ways in which we go about filling those gaps may not be healthy, but really at the end of the day, it's just about finding ways to fill those gaps. And drama content doesn't always have to be the way we do it. We just need a better hobby. In other words, sometimes we really do need to just go outside and touch grass. But if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to my thoughts on this. And if you're like me and you just can't stop watching drama channels, let me know. We can bond over it. If you have ideas for future videos, be sure to let me know those as well. Or if you have any thoughts at all, feel free to comment. I appreciate any feedback. If you like my content, consider checking out more of my videos and subscribing to my channel. In the words of Chaucer, all good things must come to an end. And this is the end of the video. Until next time.